Yay. Okay, guys, here we are again. It's election night last night, which means I haven't had any sleep. I've been blogging all night. And if you don't know how Trump stays up all night, I'm pretty sure he takes Diet Coke. He just overdoses on caffeine. So, in case you don't know my trick, I take coffee, tea, chocolate, and Captain and Coke. Very caffeinated stuff and keeps me working and going. So today we have a special day. With respect to the election, we don't really know what happened yet. I think we're waiting for the results from Pennsylvania to be concluded. Sounds like they're playing some kind of games. There's other things I'm looking right now that don't appear to be concluded, but I haven't studied it this morning. So in any event, we'll find out later with the election. But today we have two extremely special guests, both my buddies. Ari Rabban, who's the CEO of Phone.com. This is a company I started 12 years ago with Ari and other people. And my contribution is basically hiring Ari, and he's done everything else with his team for the last 12 years. So it's a super fabulous company that if you haven't tried it yet, you should try it. Ari's going to tell you all about himself and the corporation. Next is my friend Conrad Quinter, who is an awesome guy. He's a fabulous internet marketing expert and a superhuman. And I think he just got married to his love, Jenna, this weekend. So we'll talk about that. I think he eloped. I'm not sure what happened. But they're like amazing physical specimens, and they're super smart. I don't think she's coming on the live stream, but in any event, Conrad's the man. So we have two special guests. Then we do live domain name training after that, which is always a lot of fun. If you guys have really killer.com domains, I could potentially appraise them. Just don't put crappy ones in there. So having said that, without further ado, my man Ari Rabban is joining the stream. What's up, Ari?
Hi there. Good morning. I guess we are all with a lot of coffee.
Every single time I don't have my volume on, so I didn't hear you.
Oh, now? Good. Okay.
How are you today?
I'm terrific. With a lot of coffee myself. A long night, and for no real reason other than going back to sleep and waiting. Yeah. Politics
as usual on CNN and Fox News. Bunch of BS. You never know what's going down.
Yep. But keeps it exciting. Yep.
Well, it's certainly entertaining. I mean, you have an entertainment professional running the show, so he makes sure everybody's laughing and crying and tripping out, you know. Sometimes
I wonder if Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson don't collude to decide how to.
Well, that's the irony, is people don't realize they're basically the same. They're two sides of the same coin, financed in DC through the swamp, through a system of BS. But in any case, it's a big day in politics, so it's good to touch on it. But in general, we're going to talk about business on the live stream. But you can talk about anything you want, and including politics. What I like to do in general is start with everybody's background, where they're from, what their family used to do, what growing up's like, then their business background. And then, of course, I know what you do, but then catch up to today, to Phone.com, and anything you really want to talk about. So thank you very much, and go right ahead.
Well, it's a pleasure to be on the show. Obviously, I assume the audience is domain information hungry, and give them a lot of good tips. No doubt. I can certainly say that the phone. You figure, well, everybody can know that Phone.com is a great domain, but you were able to get it and to think ahead of what you want to do with it, and certainly you had a nice, good growing ride, which is still not over. So that's terrific. Yeah, I know. Your audience knows also, but it's growing. So yeah, I'm originally from a town near Tel Aviv, Israel. Although I joke that my accent is from the Midwest, because my mother is actually from the swing state, I guess, of Wisconsin, but lives in Israel now of course, for many, many years. I came here 26 years ago for school, and I thought, well, I guess I was lucky to get a job with then kind of the star of the tech industry. AT&T was spinning out Lucent Technologies, and it was the darling, and everybody wanted there to work there. If you wanted to work in tech, especially on the East Coast, it was tremendous. But soon after, I realized you learn a lot from the big corporations, and how they operate, and what you also don't like about them. And they move so slow. The bureaucracy. I couldn't even move a chair from one office to another because the union had to do it. And I remember being shouted at that I moved the chair because we needed an extra chair for a meeting. But I doubt you have many people on this show that are corporate America. But
Well, I mean, just to be clear, I mean, there's usually a few dozen people watch it live, and then but on YouTube, hundreds of people.
I guess everybody does watch it, but I'm saying it's entrepreneurial at heart, is what I'm saying, and I think that's not there's pluses and minuses. The point is that for me, joining a startup or an early stage fast-paced company was important, and maybe the part of the bug and the reason is that growing up in Israel, childhood was normal. We were certainly the difference between the amenities and the wealth in the U.S. versus Israel when I was growing up, 70s and 80s, was strong. We one TV station, black and white, until I was 14. You barely had a phone line. But certainly in the late 80s, the 90s, it changed completely, and now it's just an extension of, if you go there, it's just as modern, and everybody has everything and all. But the entrepreneurial spirit is extremely strong there, and there's a book, there's articles calling Israel Startup Nation, etc. And I was involved in tech, and I was in the military, as you all know. You have to serve there, and I was lucky to be chosen for a special program in the Signal Corps communications, and I finished top of the class, and I was put into a project that was kind of the darling of the Israeli Defense Force, kind of red phone, secure secret phone service system. And it was all being built at the time. So seeing something built and created from start, probably that's what got me started. For some reason, I went to study law.
Well, I want to just back you up. Can you just talk for just 1 minute about some of the people and some of the companies that came from Israel that helped start the internet revolution in America?
I think there are a few industries that really were impacted by Israeli technology. On the corporate side, a lot of the Pentium chips that Intel has, of course, that powered all the PCs, were made in Israel. I believe Intel is still the largest tech employer in Israel. Maybe by now there are others, but certainly they have thousands and thousands of tech employees in Israel, and they worked on that on the corporate side. As far as inventions and industries that kind of emerged, the firewall industry was very much got its origins in Israel. Certainly a tremendous contribution by a company named Checkpoint. Actually, a high school classmate of mine that was one of the co-founders there. And they're, of course, I don't know, they're a $20 billion company and one of the leading firewall companies. And from there expanded to other areas. Another one was the disk on key, the little USB sticks that we used. That was invented in Israel. And of course, the industry that I'm involved in, voice over IP, was definitely invented in Israel, and I had the pleasure of working for that company. And that's if I'm kind of jumping between Israel and the U.S. I never worked in tech other than the army in Israel. But when I was at Lucent, I met the CEO of Vocaltech. That was the company that essentially created the first ever commercial product that let you talk from one PC to another. And they opened up an office in New Jersey, and I was in New Jersey with Bell Labs Lucent, and it was kind of easy to move. And really, I wasn't at the very beginning of that VoIP revolution, but very early on. But as you know, Mike, of course, we have working with us Alon Cohen, who is the co-founder of that company, and he's our CTO. And I don't think he ever thought that he'd still be working in the industry so many years later. But he and his partner at the early stages recruited a bunch of really terrific guys. They have a very charismatic CEO who was a medical doctor by profession, also Israeli, and they just came up with the product. The first ones just basically let you talk from one PC to another and dial up, but the rest is history. Yeah. So a lot of I think in the Nasdaq there are more technology companies from Israel listed than any other company in the world. Venture capital in Israel is second only to the U.S. Et cetera, et cetera. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to talk about it, because you're an expert and know a lot of these people. I mean, I only know about it a little bit just by reading online and stuff, but
it is fascinating.
Companies started by Israelis, which basically includes phone.com, are extraordinarily successful in the United States, particularly technology, internet, finance, VC things. Also, other stuff Ari mentions too, and other things, biotech, weaponry, healthcare.
Right. Irrigation. I mean, I don't know anything about that field, but irrigation to take dry lands and make them blossom in agriculture. I mean, and you mentioned the healthcare industry, of course. There's just tremendous innovation now. Of course, AI is very 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 strong. And there's a lot going on. Blockchain, not so much the trading, but the technology behind it. Also the trading, even gaming. I mean, it's really on so many aspects. And look, arguably, cybersecurity is for obvious reasons also very strong. So it's just basically everywhere. And it's just very very bright, vibrant, and it's all entrepreneurial. You just have so many young small companies, and by young I don't mean necessarily age. You have founders even in their 60s, I think even 70s, still going after VC money and just doing it because they've been that's kind of the vibe, and that's what their life is.
Well, let me touch on the irrigation issue. I mean, the Jews probably know the thing, but I mean, that's sort of like the Jewish American Israeli dream, is to irrigate the desert, and it with the Jewish population, Aliyah for the Americans, and just have the Jews return to the Holy Land, but without irrigation and farming, and it is just a dry desert. So
yeah, I think some tourists still want to see. Show me where the swamps are. Maybe you have to go to DC. But
when I was a kid and we did tzedakah at Temple, a lot of it was, or extra tzedakah was based on the idea of planting trees in Israel, the desert in Israel, and which actually literally worked, but on a larger scale it worked. But so anyway, let's talk about phone.com. You can just let's just separate it into a couple of things, like the technology, the marketing, the branding. Maybe if you want to talk about how you do search optimization or pay-per-click, anything you really want to talk about I'll go on mute and go right ahead.
I think the key message is there's so much technology behind phone.com, but of course it's the marketing that drives a business. It's rarely just the best technology, and we have examples of that all over. But you can't do it without technology. I remember when I first met you, and I was working on incubating businesses with arguably another kind of internet telephony or voice over IP guru, one of the biggest evangelists, Jeff Pulver, who at the time, now he's much less involved in it. He went into other areas, but at the time was running big conferences, and he was an early stage investors in VoIP companies, and I was working with him, helping incubating and building startups in the space, and I met you. I got the domain, and I always say it when people ask me. I said, well, there's the guy is like internet real estate is like commercial real estate sometimes, and I said like he found that old building or whatever you want to call it in Times Square, and he knew you can build the best hotel there. But let's just find a guy that already built hotels and can help me operate it, and we'll go together. And I think that's what we really did. But you're obviously you had vision in there in the internet in domain space earlier, and you had vision here to look at it. And what I really saw, other than saying, oh wow, it's a great domain, is that I saw all these kind of genius technology ideas that just failed because of no marketing. Because obviously there were other examples. Skype was a terrific example of a company that did tremendously well, but a lot that just don't, because they don't put the two together. And I think that's what I saw the opportunity. Obviously, we both had the idea for the same type of service. Not like selling phones or something like that, but just offering a service and subscription type business, etc. And then the rest, the business evolves as we see industry demands, etc. But originally, when we started, you had Skype for calling over the internet for consumer use, mainly just for chatting long distance. You had some early stage home phone services that replaced the landlines because they were much cheaper, but you didn't have a service for small business. They still at large had to either go to the older traditional business phone service that you bought from a company that sold you those PBXs, if anybody knows the term, those boxes that sat in your office, and you had a few lines connected, and it was expensive, it was cumbersome, and a lot of small businesses couldn't afford it. So you got one landline, maybe two landlines. You couldn't really forward from one to another, or you just used your cell phone. And we came in, and although we weren't the only ones, we were one of the very early ones to make it so easy. And then look, the market is still growing. There's still a lot of room and a lot more innovation to go through there. But that certainly was something that was a very early stage, then let alone, of course, the ability to purchase it all and sign up and get going in minutes, all online, without having the phone guy visit you and help you build it.
So tell me right now, like what the current offering is and how it competes with the competitor. What's the price? How do they sign up? What's the deal here?
So, obviously the telephony industry in general is extremely competitive. There you have the 800-ton gorilla or whatever it is. But we have arguably the best focus on small business. 24/7. Our own employee call center in the U.S. with care. If you pay us $10 a month, which is what the price starts at for a phone number that can forward to as many people as you want. Obviously, you'll pay for more minutes. For $10, you can't have 100 people going at the same time, but you could have them all on the service, and look and sound like a 100-person business. And then you can add features and services that make you like a real office phone service. We'll ship you physical phones. We'll set you up with headsets, with wireless phones if you need, et cetera, et cetera. But majority now, and especially since COVID started, we don't really need the physical phones. Our phone is the laptop primarily, and indeed that's a focus in the industry, is that our phones, not just video, just a regular phone, is an app on your laptop and of course on your mobile phone, so you can use the phone to your own iPhone with your business phone number, and not give out your iPhone to clients if you don't want to. You can keep a separate persona. When you get a call, if it's a private call or if it's a business call. And I mean, the sky's the limit as far as how you want to route and how important it is. Some people don't care, but you have to.
Can everybody get a free trial to prove how awesome?
Yeah, we do 30 first month free or money back guarantee. And we'll work with you. We'll help you. We'll set up. I mean, this is part of the service and the focus to support small business.
Right. I think that's really, there's a few key takeaways. It's a very broad suite of technology, communication services, and marketing services that's very inexpensive. Plus, it has a very high level of US-based customer services. So the quality of the service suite and the customer service and the price is unmatched. It's a high-touch service to the extent, it all works automated online, but if somebody needs help getting their small business up with a bunch of cool phone services, phone numbers, customized stuff, we have people ready to go. And so It's an extremely competitive offering, and we're so tiny that the vast majority of the world doesn't know about it yet, but will soon.
Yeah. It's always like that. Obviously, I think another you can look at it in both ways. We succeeded with very little funding, and we grew. We're going to be 40,000 customers soon, and we know competitors that raise dozens of millions of dollars to get to that level, and even if they're bigger, it was still with tremendous investments. Obviously, not you, not me are against getting investments, but has to be the right way. And I think there's a balance there. But certainly the focus, the service, and the fact that so many can get to dial tone and work without talking to us is the right balance, so that we can keep the call center available for those who really need the help, and the model works as well. I will add that of course, over the years, more and more technologies, mentioned AI. We're also using it more, integrations and APIs. So customers want to connect to other services. It's you're not just a vanilla phone service. You connect to whether it's for marketing or support or HR or finance. You always have tools, a lot of CRM systems, but a variety of them. It's not necessarily the traditional, Salesforce that you integrate with.
So the way we're going to compete with bigger companies is basically through innovative internet marketing techniques.
Right.
Includes, a lot of, I own another company called SEO.com, which I actually work at. Well, I don't really work at, but I own 100% of that company. And other people operate it. But the point being is that that's a digital marketing agency, and phone.com has to employ virtually all those same strategies, again, to compete. And it's just a good and efficient way of growing a company at a lower acquisition cost for customers to gain market share.
Sure.
You can just break down like some of the different methods that phone.com's using to attempt to, again, gain leverage and compete.
Yeah, I think we know statistically, I'm well connected in the industry and know our CEOs of pretty much all our competitors, and we have statistics, and we look, and percentage-wise, we are arguably have the largest percent of customers that sign up online. Most of our competitors have agents. They have salespeople that help with the sale. We have the highest percentage of people that sign up online, literally online, or the whole process online, or of course find us online and then call us, and we have our inside sales team. So essentially, they're taking the orders or getting calls. They don't call out. Percentage-wise, we're the highest, and in order to do that, of course, phone.com, the domain, is obviously the difference maker, but it's not enough, right? You don't just say I have phone.com and that's it. A little anecdote is that you may remember, Mike, that when we started and we had beta.phone.com, because we weren't really live, we already got customers because people found us, and the system was working, the credit card processing was working, but we didn't even launch. But people found us and started signing up, which got us to say, okay, let's remove the beta and just launch www.phone.com. But of course, yeah.
We'll just conclude with whatever the best stuff is, and then I'm going to add Conrad in a couple minutes.
Yeah. So again, it really is about optimization, and content, fresh content all the time, and all the right SEO strategy. Which we worked with the folks at SEO.com. We work with others. We have our own team now with our size, and then a lot of very sophisticated pay-per-click technology and other traditional online marketing strategies. It's a constant operation. Always need to refresh. Always need to come with ideas.
What I'm going to do is bring you back in 6 months, and we're going to talk about how you just made $1 billion and created the coolest, fastest growing internet sensation ever. So I'm really excited for that.
Thank you, Mike. All the best.
I really appreciate you coming on. And of course, you did a fabulous job representing yourself and us. And thank you for all the background on Israel and everything else. It was very useful and enlightening. It's going to be on YouTube. Hopefully everybody will watch it. We'll search optimize it, and it'll be around forever. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yep.
Have a nice
Mike.
day.
All the best. Bye.
Thank you. And we're going to add my buddy Conrad. What's up, my man?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Did you get married this weekend?
I did.
You're the man.
Thanks, bro.
Awesome. Wait, let's see. Did you get a tattoo?
Yeah, we're going to get a tattoo. We're going to get
awesome, buddy.
Yeah, pretty soon. Yeah, it's pretty exciting, man. It was a nice time. It was a nice time. So,
yeah, dude. You're welcome to say anything you want.
Oh, okay. You want to know? Okay, so we had Fort Lauderdale on the beach. It was nice, and so we had it there, and then right across the street, the reception, and a lot of good, friends, family. It was just a good time, kind of seeing people together that maybe haven't seen a really, really long time, and had a little waterworks when I was talking about the vows and stuff. She sang to me as her vows. So
nice, buddy.
You met her, so you know her. So, yeah.
Oh, she's awesome. Yeah, I don't know if you saw the picture I put as your picture holding her up over your head.
I didn't see that. I need to.
That's what's on my social. I used it. I mean, Ari and I are all right, but we're a little, old for the modeling session. But
that's all in the mind. That's all in the mind.
So I mean, we're going to talk about a couple different things here. So the first thing I like to do is just tell me about where you're from, what your family is about, and then your work and business background, and then we'll go to today, what you're working on today.
Got it. Okay. So I'm originally from Pennsylvania, Allentown area. The whole Lehigh Valley, and then I moved down to Florida about 10 years ago. So I've been here for 10 years, and worked in the moving industry, which not too proud of, to be honest. Even though it's good money, I just wasn't proud of it for a while. I was a manager. I was brought in for a company that had like, when I got there was like one guy there and I fired him, and then kind of revamped it. And unfortunately with that, because it's just commission-based business, and they just want people who work to the bone, that they don't care, but they don't. And and it's weird. It's like, I try to fire somebody. Oh no, he makes us good sales. It's like, okay, so you want him to walk all over me, and it was just a real headache. And but anyways, I got that business to 6. I think our best year, I think I got him to 6 million. So that was pretty good. There was no people in there, and then I hired a sales team up to like 10 people, and we're doing anywhere from like 20 to 40 grand a week in sales. So that's pretty good. And then I was like, man, we need better leads. And then that's how I kind of learned into getting into exclusive leads. They gave me some money to use per day because I started learning about Google, and I started taking different courses, and literally just every single day just learning and buying courses and doing every single thing I possibly could to learn. I took a course on Udemy, then I became certified after taking that course. If anybody's listening and they want to get started, just start with a course from Udemy. You don't need to buy these $1,000, $2,000 courses to learn the game. You can simply buy a $10 to $50 course to learn if you just want to learn. It just depends on what your goal is and this and that. But anyways, that's where I all got started. And I wanted to do that because I knew the power of an exclusive lead was so much better than a shared lead that's called over and over again and backdoored in the alley by 5 guys. So having an exclusive lead is so much more powerful, and you can do that with Google. And then I also learned how to do that with Facebook too. So yeah.
Yeah, and again, you're underrepresenting yourself. You're extremely aggressive at landing leads and getting your clients leads and closing those leads, because I watch you, and I'm a sales and marketing expert, so I know what I'm watching. But anyway, let me just ask you about a couple different things. Let me give you like a case study. So we both live in Boca. Actually, you moved. You're in Palm Beach, right?
Yeah, 25 minutes up. Yeah.
Well, in any case, let's pretend you're a spa in Palm Beach that does like facials and nails and hair and stuff like that. And you have, let's say, $500 a month, and we're going to give you $500 a month. What are you going to do to bring me some clients and make me some money?
Back then, you would get me for $500 a month. Now you wouldn't, but for $500, yeah. But for
add it to it, how about 1,000 or 1,500?
Okay, let's say 1,500. Okay, so let me explain how this would work essentially, right? We'd find a client in med spa, just like he was talking about, right? And most of the time, they maybe just be posting on social media and this and that, and they're really missing out on, unless you're spending money to advertise to show what you offer, you're only going to get it to so many people. But when you spend money, more eyes are going to see it, right? And essentially, it depends if you're doing Google or you're doing Facebook. Google is a phone book. Google is, you're searching for something. Med spas near me. Lip injections near me, or whatever. That's Google. You're actively searching for it. You're going to pop up, rank it. You call it. But Facebook is a billboard. But this is the way I kind of put it. Now, instead of putting your billboard on 95 and everybody see it, now when everybody's driving by on 95, only red cars or blue cars are going to be able to see this billboard. If that rings a bell or there's a light bulb for anybody, put a 1 or a 2 in the chat. But the point is you're putting, so Google is again search intent, and then Facebook, you can target the exact type of person you want to see it, and then also have it where those other people. If I was doing med spa, I would definitely exclude men. I wouldn't have any men. I would have probably women 25 and all the way up to probably any unlimited age. And it depends on if you're doing the whole US or a local area. I'm going to teach you guys some stuff. So if you're doing local ads, you don't want to do too much targeting. Because when you do local ads and you do too much targeting, this is Facebook we're talking about. Like, let's just say we're doing a 50-mile radius. If you do too much, like narrowing down, like, okay, they have to be over the age of 25 and a woman. They have to like the Kardashians. They have to like this magazine and this makeup or whatever. You're not going to have enough audience to home in on it. right? So you just want to try to find 1 or 2 qualifiers that will still keep the audience range. For local ads, you want to stay between an average range of 300,000 to 600,000 people. That's pretty much the sweet spot. If you're not there, if it's like way higher, you might want to put 1 identifier in there. If it's too low, you might want to take that off and just go completely broad and just base it off of people who are, you know, a female, you know, and that's it. And just over the age of 25. Like, so that's kind of how I do. But the most important thing out of all of it, targeting is important, don't get me wrong, but the most important part is an offer, right? If you have, if people are online and they see, you know, let's just talk about a roofing company, for instance, or a med spa, it's just like, come in for your free appointment, you're free and get your free roof inspection, right? And everybody else has the same thing. Why does somebody want to click on you? And it's the same when you go to a website, when they're on Google and they're clicking around and they click on, they Google something, search something, and they're looking for, like, let's just say a plumber, and they all these plumbing sites, every single thing says the same thing. Hey, get a quote, get a free quote or whatever. And then the other person says, hey, get $50 off your first appointment. This is how the person who's spending far less money on their advertising can always knock out the big competitor who's spending a lot of money because of the offer. So you have to understand, when you're searching around, you don't click the site because it looks all pretty and stuff, or you sign up, you click it because it has a good offer, a good deal. Just like when we're driving around town and we see signs somewhere and it says something, that's why we stop there. Here's my prime example of why an offer works. Say you're going on you have a new girl, you're going to go on a date. You've been to this ice cream place probably like 20 times, and it's been around for 20 years. It's super, super good. And you know that's where you're originally thinking in your mind. You're driving, and all of a sudden, like maybe a half mile before that, there's a new place that says grand opening, buy one get one free ice cream. It's a new girl, so you're probably like, fuck it, let's just go, let's try this place out. I save a few bucks, right? And you go over to the buy one get one free place because it's a better offer than the other place, even though that place has been around. So the point I'm getting at is the offer will always win. So if you can have whatever you're doing, no matter med spa, roofing, solar, whatever, I don't care what it is, it's all about the offer. And if you don't have an offer, you are losing tons and tons of money. Yeah. Like tons of money. These companies spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 sometimes a month on online advertising to a site that looks identical to the competitor down the street. Yeah. And if you're not giving them like a free download, these top 5 tips for hiring a luxury contractor, right? Maybe you don't want just a regular, guy who's going to help you out. So maybe you want somebody really high quality, right? But guess what? The person who's going to download that book or that PDF, okay, you're not going to get the generic person. So you're going to weed out the bad people. You're going to get the people who get what you want as far as an ideal customer. And now you have the ideal lead you want, and you didn't leave any money on the table. So the most important thing I can tell anybody who's looking into this and trying to create something is make a quick PDF, an ebook, just a little guide, and make it directed toward the person or the type of thing that you're trying to get, and just get that email as fast and as quick as you can. And then you can remarket to them over and over again by sending them emails, which doesn't cost anything, right? Running an ad costs money. Emails cost nothing. But the point is to get that person into your ecosystem for the least amount possible. While you may spend, because you did it right, spend 60 cents to get that person in your ecosystem, your competitor, to get a sale at the end of the day, they may have spent $470 to acquire a sale that costs you 60 cents. So
Awesome, dude. Well, so you guys can see how smart and disciplined Conrad is with respect to his job and his business. I want to ask you about something else in a minute, but before I do, can people hire you?
Yes.
How do they hire you?
Contact me.
Okay. On Facebook or something?
Conrad Quinter, or I can take my number down. I can give it to you.
Yeah, I have it. I have you shared on Facebook, so presumably they can click you and message you if it's open.
Correct. And it says, the first thing that says tired of poop emoji leads, or I think you even said the word tired of shit leads. I think that's what it says up there. And because what I do is I try to, everybody in this space that talks about themselves as a good marketer or a good person, all they talk about is like a lead cost and how great, like, oh man, I got so many leads for you, or I can get you 30 leads this week, or I can get you 40 appointments. And if you're not getting the type of customer you want, number one, or these people aren't picking up the phone, what's the point? Like right now, we deal with about a 40 to 60 LTA, meaning lead to appointment. So 10 leads imagine you get 10 leads, right? And out of those 10 leads, you're going to have a minimum of 4 to 6 appointments set. I mean, that's extremely good quality. These are not messages. These are not phone calls. I'm talking, these is a lead that you have, you call up, pick up. But the point is, because you put little qualifiers in them that make sure they're going to be the right type of client that comes into your system. And you do certain questions and things like that that turn the other people away that you don't want in there. So you get rid of the shit and keep what you want.
Yep. So I don't know if you remember, like the first time I met you, I heard you talking, you know, we were at the buffet and I heard you telling somebody else what you were just talking about. It's like, that dude's like speaking my language. Like, where do you work, man? Like, what do you do, dude? You know about SEO? So, you know, obviously we had that in common.
I'm at SEO. I'm all the paid advertising is my gig. I have it, you know, I try to stay in my lane. I have some guys I work with that are in SEO, but Mike's the man for SEO for sure.
Well, Alexandra, actually, it's just like sort of like phone.com. I actually don't do I don't work at SEO.com and I don't work at phone.com. The only place I really work is Domain Market, where I buy and sell domain names, but I do own those other companies and started them. But fortunately, I have awesome people running them, and it'd be impossible for me to spend time on it. But so in any case, so we met a long time ago, a few years back at the buffet. And so what, you know, I know a bunch of really big, strong weightlifters, including the people at that table and some people I know in Delaware and DC. I'm not one of them, but I just happen to know them. So Conrad and these other guys at the buffet, you know, are like massive, like power lifters, and they can eat an unbelievable amount of food, which, you know,
that's the fun part more than lifting. That's the fun part, is just stuffing your face some nights.
Well, I mean, our buddy Neil is so funny, and I know you sometimes do the same thing. He like starves himself for 24 hours, and then he can already eat the world's massive amount of food, but he's starving, so it's like crazy. And I'm the exact opposite. I eat one plate, drink my tea or whatever, and I'm done. So it's kind of funny. They love when I go in there because they're making a fortune. When you and Neil go in there, like, oh shit,
they're in the red so deep they can't even.
But it's like so entertaining. They're just letting you guys go because they have so many people like me that they make money on. You know.
How long have you known Neil?
I've known Neil a really long time. I think he won like the business plan competition at FAU like 10 years ago or something. He was friends with
he's this skinny little guy.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that's the funniest, that's the craziest thing. I knew him when he was a skinny little guy, and now he's big. I mean, you can see these guys online on their Facebook. They post their workout pictures. So, you know, both of them are great businessmen, and, you know, they're totally buttoned up, but when they work out, they're like machines. But the good thing to know is that it translates. It's like, it's your mental state of business, your mental state working out. You can succeed at both if you have the right mindset. So why don't you just tell us for a couple minutes about what you eat and how you work out, and then I'm going to do my domain name training in a few minutes.
Sure. So I work out not just because I like to work out. I work out because it puts me in a really good mindset to get stuff done that I need to get done, and it gives me that attack type of mentality. Like all the stuff that I'm doing, my company. So just so you guys know, my company's called Market Monster. All the stuff I do, and surprisingly, you guys would be shocked. Surprisingly, all the clients that I've had, I don't even think I have. I think I may have one. Every single one of them are all organic clients that I've recruited from groups and things like that. You know, I've been on my Market Monster company. I've been doing that for probably 6+ months. We've been 10K, over 10K every single month in. And we say we, I mean me, because I'm the only one who does it. I'm the only one on my team. So
Jenna doesn't work with you?
Not. She will. Now I want to get to a different level before I need her. I want to take myself to the like max brink where I'm like, okay, now I need help. And I can usually just plow through stuff pretty quick. But when I start taking on projects that are different versus like taking on a guy who wants leads versus a person who wants a funnel done, I didn't realize it, but it definitely sucks my time up a lot more than just making a quick lead account for somebody, for somebody who wants leads. And for those of you who don't know, a funnel is probably the most effective way possible to make money online when somebody comes into your
so back to, we're going to conclude with a little more health stuff, just like practical.
Okay, so health stuff. Okay,
no, you're fine. But
okay, so here, all right, go ahead. I got it.
I'm going to ask you a question though. So again, you take a skinny old guy like me. What are you going to recommend for a diet and a workout routine?
If I found a person like you, well, first things, although I may have my goals that I think might be appropriate for you. First thing I'm going to ask you is what's your not immediate goal? Because I've had a friend who said he wanted to lose fat. I'm like, dude, you add some muscle on, you add some size on. And then he was like, yeah, well, I mean, that's where eventually where I'd like to be. But then I said, okay, so this is, and I taught him that this is how you do it. But I always ask him first, what's your goal? What's your end? Where do you want to be in 6 months? Where do you be in a year? Where, like, if you had to picture ideal Mike Mann,
I just want to live long and be healthy for my kids, and look good.
Okay. So what I would recommend is knowing where, kind of having an idea where your calories are at for the day. Your goal is just wellness, right? So for you, I would just say, I think you're vegan. Yeah.
I eat a little bit of cheese, but I'm pretty much vegan.
Okay. So for you, I would, what would probably be most beneficial for you, since you're on the leaner end as far as size is concerned, lifting weights isn't only just for like so far as like physique or feeling good, but it actually does different things to your body. It helps your hormones. It does lots of different things versus just running. So for you, I would probably have you on like resistance training along with doing instead of like just jogging and light stuff, have you doing some fun stuff like jump roping, maybe some plyometrics, some fast running, kind of some HIIT workouts that really get that body tuned up and charged up. As far as eating, as far as the vegan, I would just say make sure you're doing probably about 100 grams of protein a day at least for where you're at. As far as your carbohydrates, I would really stick away from a lot of the sugars. Try to use things that are like potatoes, rice, zucchinis, carrots, and then stick to your greens. The way I try to always go about everything that I do is besides what you see at the sushi buffet, because that's me just having fun.
Yeah, I know.
To pretty much like what would a caveman eat, or what would the earliest form of, like if I had to eat something, would I be able to what would I be able to find on the ground and eat right away? Like potato, you can eat
the caveman diet, and like
pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, again, if you look online, you can see Conrad is the craziest physical specimen. So you should probably listen to what he's saying.
Mike's very kind with his compliments, but
no, it's obvious. But do you train Jenna too, or?
Oh yeah, and I just have her kind of do high intensity training. People think you need to work out for an hour. I just have her go balls to the wall for 25 minutes, and that's it. Wrap it up, done for the day. And that's it. You don't need an hour, 2 hours. You don't have to eat perfect. It's just being consistent. If I had to give one piece of advice as far as getting where you want to be, is being not perfect, but consistent with your workouts. Yeah. And consistent with your eating. So you don't have to eat 100% clean and good. Just eat it like 70 to 80%. And don't feel bad if you eat that piece of cake. Don't do this. But just make sure the next day or two, you're going to push yourself a little harder than it was before. Because I've dealt with some women and they like really throw up or just eat like a ton and then like go puke it all up. You know, I'm like, no, just listen, fucked up. Okay, that's okay. But the next day, we're just gonna eat less. So this is the simplest philosophy I have for it. You have a bank account, right? If you spend too much money in a day, what happens, Mike? You go in the negative, right? So that's the same way I do it with working out. And you just have to know where your calories are. Like, it's a simple way. If you want to like lose weight, just make sure you're about 10 times the amount of calories as you are body weight. So if you're, 200 pounds, eat about 2,000 calories. You're 150 pounds, eat about 1,500 calories. That's if you want to lose weight. If you want to maintain it, probably like 13 to 15 times. Okay, just giving you kind of general guidelines. But the point I'm getting at is, if I'm aiming to say, hey, I need to eat X amount of calories in a day, and I'm overhitting that, right? Now my bank account's negative. Now I don't have any money left to spend. Or let's say I hit it, and now I'm still hungry. Well, guess what? Anything that I eat is going to put me in the negative. So I need to make sure I don't go over, right? And then the same token, let's say you do go over, you just make up for that negative balance the next day if you spend too much. Does that?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes,
and,
sir.
It's a lot simpler. And the thing is, like, this another, I guess, example. You get a person A. They eat 3 slices of pizza. They eat two slices of pizza and a hamburger in a day, right? That's person A. And they go to the gym 3-4 times a week. Have a really good body. You're like, wow, how do they have that body? Then you have person B who eats healthy, but they eat a ton of healthy food. They're like, oh, it's okay, it's healthy. I'm eating this hummus. I'm eating these organic chips. I'm eating this and that, right? And then they work out all the time, but they never get anywhere. And the reason is one simple reason. They're too far in the negative in their bank account. So what I'm getting at is, you could eat shitty food, and this is just a really mind fuck, if pardon my French, but you could eat crappy food and work out and have a great body, and you can eat really good food and work out all the time and not have the body that you want or desire. And it's just because of one simple reason. You're eating too much. It's the same reason why anorexic people are extremely skinny, or the same reason why bulimic people usually are on the larger end. So the point is, you can have your cake, you can eat it too.
Literally.
You could literally have a piece of cake, as long as you're working out. Like, let's say you have a hard, like you see Neil do it on his post. So you could have a really hard workout that day and have a piece of cake. I wouldn't recommend it every day, but maybe a couple times a week, and you would be just fine. Body would look great, as long as, again, remember, you're not going over that bank account. If you're going over the bank account, that's when you see those issues. And now 1 or 2 days of over the bank account isn't going to be an issue, but when it's like 3 months over the bank account, that's why we see all of a sudden we have a new tire on our stomach. It's just because of one simple thing, where our calories are just too high.
Yeah.
And you don't really have to, people think I have to, learn this. I have to eat this super diet, the keto diet, this and that. No, you don't have to do that. You just have to know where you're at the end of the day. So you can have that burger, you can have that piece of cake, you can have the things that you enjoy. You just need to make sure you're not going over. And yeah, that's the simplest philosophy I can give.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I mean, I really appreciate you telling us about all this stuff. And again, you can see the relationship between his work ethic and his workout ethic. You might remember probably like a year ago, before COVID, I was talking to you about, I'm doing pretty well in business. I'm going to start working out more. I'm going to need to ask you for some help and ideas and stuff. But then like COVID hit, and I've been like playing catch up for the last year. So I'm not getting much exercise. But having said that, I still have the same plan to start working less and talking to you more about my health.
My goal is to start working less. My next goal is, instead of doing a monthly, and then just, we have visitors here, and that's okay. But the next goal is not to be let me just do this for you each month. My goal is to charge more, maybe like a kind of a higher end, and be like a coach.
Yeah.
And teach, either a business owner or their secretary to do basic, simple things like I do, and get exclusive leads for their business.
We're going to barter. I'm going to teach you how to make millions of dollars, and you're going to teach me to be Hercules.
Fantastic. Perfect. Yeah, that works.
Dude, congratulations so much on your wedding, and congratulate Jenna for me. That's so awesome. That's the best thing I saw on Facebook all weekend. The rest of it is psychotic.
No, I appreciate it. It was really beautiful, man. It was great.
Great. So I recommend if you run a small business, you should probably hire Conrad. If you run a slightly bigger business, you should hire SEO.com.
Oh, and I have something that no marketer ever will give. I give either if you're in the red, money back guarantee. If you're in the green, then I keep the money for my hard work I've done.
Yeah. Well, that's what kind of you see in both of my guests is they're very committed to their customers and quality service and good value. They're totally different services, but they have the same ethic. And, that's probably why we get along. Part of the reasons. Conrad has an extremely good workout ethic. He's an awesome guy, and I really appreciate all your time. And especially after you just got married and this election night and all this craziness, you still showed up for me. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, Mike. My pleasure. I appreciate you having me on. Happy to jump on anytime.
Good deal. Well, we'll add you on again in a few months.
Sounds good.
Thanks, buddy. Have a nice one. Take care.
Yeah, take care.
Cool. So we're going to do live domain name trading. Again, the object is to teach you how to fish instead of fishing for you. It's not clear if people put any domains in here, but luckily I have a backup list just in case. You guys didn't put very many domains in today. Usually you load me up with a ton of domains. So I'll do my own domain list, which is I have to do anyway. So that'll be nice. So again, most domains have no value at all. So what you try to do is filter and just get to the best ones. And those ones have value. And if they have value today, most likely it'll keep going up and going up, because what we're talking about is fabulous.com domain names. So they've been going up year after year after year. It's the bad quality ones that people have to keep deleting and they pay for, and they get really frustrated that they're not profitable. So in any event, we're going to appraise a couple domains so you can follow the process a little bit. Let's try, I have to share my screen, obviously. We're going to try Central Bank, but it's spelled S-E-N-T-R-A-L. So we're going to see if that has any value in a foreign language, what language it is, etc. And so, again, we're sharing my screen. Hopefully you can see my screen. We're going to look up this domain name. We always use Boolean because Google stinks and wants to show me a bunch of crappy results to sell ad space, but I'm only interested in identical results. They give you a hodgepodge of weird results based on their algorithm to sell me stuff. So Google's a monopoly, and there's lots of ways of improving the company. If a competitor could improve it, if there were competitors. So Central Bank spelled with an S, we know central with a C is a common expression. Banco Central, that's spelled the wrong way. This is central lowercase. Again, Google won't let me use capital. It won't recognize the capital letters. So there's no point in really putting them in there. I put them in anyway, but Google doesn't care. And again, Google's putting in a comma in between. I have an exact Boolean expression. There's no comma in there, but Google's showing me a bunch of junk. So I can click on a bunch of junk and they can sell a bunch of ads. It's a terrible system. In any case, Banco Central Bank, it's like spelled wrong. It has something to do with India, Irlandia. So we're going to look at images to see if there's any logos, slogans. Again, they changed it. Google switched this on me. I really wanted with an S. I'm going to do minus central so they'll stop sending me the results I'm not asking for. So again, you have to use Boolean with Google or else you get crappy results. So here we go. We have good results. Question is, does this domain have any value? We first want to disambiguate it, figure out what it means. Then we're going to do the breadth, how many people might need it, and the depth, which of those people might pay the most money and how much might they pay, being the appraisal. So the good news is we have this guy right here, Bank Central. Oh, but that's spelled wrong, actually. That's backwards. These are all backwards. So what it means is nothing, unfortunately, for the appraisal. It does have something going on Facebook here, but doesn't look like it's properly tagged, which implies there's no activity. Central Bank of India, that's a little bit interesting. I'm going to just click on a couple of these Facebook links and see if they have a lot of followers, which is something you should do as well. And see if they're using an exact match expression, see if they've chatted in the last 24 hours or ever. So the Central Bank of India has never posted anything ever on Facebook, so it's probably not even a real company. There's a second one from Indonesia that also never posted anything except for a logo. So this name is totally worthless. Centralbank.com with an S is worth 0. So I'll look at the next one. Now you guys have posted some. Thank you very much. Ryder posted taku.com. I'm going to look that up in Google. I think you guys can still see my screen. So we have 17 million results. So that is extraordinarily excellent information to know. And somebody's in the money like crazy. So again, we're disambiguating it. What does it mean? It's a short 4-letter word, and it actually sounds like a real word as opposed to just 4 letters. So that's really good. I own obey.com, lure.com. So this is, not similar, but 4 letters, and it sounds like something cool. So again, we have to disambiguate it. So what does it mean? How many people might need it, and who needs it the most? First of all, you always like the first hit on Google. Taku Steakhouse, probably make a lot of money. Japanese steakhouse, because they're at the top of Google, and Google knows who's been in business the longest and who has the most traffic to their website, things like that. So it's probably the most relevant hit, but not necessarily. There's still a bunch of other ways of gaining context of this expression. Taku store, wild Alaska seafood, Japanese restaurant, maybe Taku is some kind of fish or something. Elementary school, point of sale for retail. So again, this is Taku Labs. We check all these things out usually. There's a lot of them. So again, what does it mean? It means a bunch of things to a bunch of people. And if it meant nothing at all, it would be a great, great domain because it's 4 letters and it sounds really cool. And it also, you're not infringing on anybody's trademark, most likely. It's not a famous mark. Nobody's ever heard of it before. So it would be a fabulous brand. Sort of like Obey. I own obey.com. So in any event, it means a lot of cool stuff. And we're going to look at the images to try to figure out what it's worth. It's people's name. It's a first name, a Japanese first name. It looks like the most popular thing. It's the name of a couple companies. So, it's hard to get a good appraisal. If I was using my own system, I would have a ton of tools and technology, people helping me to get a really tight appraisal, and I'd have more time. But for purposes of this experiment, we're going to come up with the best price we can. So again, what is the value of taku.com? Well, again, it has massive breadth. It means whatever you want it to mean. It has massive depth because it's a 4-letter word that sounds cool. It has a bunch of businesses. So it's very valuable. Figuring out how valuable, you really want to go high and then let the people negotiate and look at your financial position at the moment of the negotiation and see what you're comfortable with. In any event, I do this little game to try to play a game. Is it worth 300,000? That's a lot. Keeping in mind, you'll have to discount it and negotiate down. You could potentially list it there. 200,000 sounds more realistic. 100,000, too cheap. Again, I'm a professional at this, so I've sold tons of domains. It'd be hard for you to do this appraisal because it doesn't mean anything to the outside world necessarily. So in any event, It's not worth 200,000 because nobody has 200,000. 100,000 is a little cheap for this one because it's so awesome. So it's worth 125,000. And again, you know, you might take 50 or 75,000 because that's a ton of money and you can get yourself a year off of work. So that's a great one. I'll do a few more. I'm running really long today, like usual, because I had such fabulous guests. Let's see what else you guys put in the chat stream. Boatnews.com, that's a great one. Or at least it's a one that we know what it means. What else do you have here? Promenade Suite, boat. Tyler Smith posted some. Low-cal pizza. I'll check that out. Okay, we're going to do low-cal pizza. You know, it's 3 words, and it's not even a word. Cal isn't a word, so you know, there's 1,000 other ways to say it. Low-calorie pizza, diet pizza, you know, whatever. Low-carb pizza, on and on. And, you know, there's 1,000 other ways of talking about pizza. Hot pizza, pepperoni pizza, pizzadelivery.com is a domain I sold a long time ago. So anyway, we'll do a little Google thing on it. But so far, I'm betting against low-cal pizza, nothing personal. We know what it means conceptually. First of all, I should see if there's any market for it at all by spelling it correctly. We see low-calorie pizza crust, sauce, recipe. So it's all about a recipe, and like people look up low-calorie pizza because they want to eat pizza without getting it from Domino. So anyway, it has a lot of activity there. That's a good sign. Low-cal pizza. Basically, those 2 words are worth about the same. One's spelled correctly, but one's a lot shorter and means the exact same thing. So, so the hits on this are 28,000 spelled the way the domain is. Hits on this are spelled the correct way, 127,000. But again, it's just, we know what it means. That's the disambiguation. The breadth is, you know, a lot of companies could use it, but considering there's so many other ways of saying it, you'd have a hell of a time selling it because it's too long and it's too many other alternatives. People wouldn't want to pay you. They always don't want to pay you. They only pay you when they have no other choice. In this case, they have other choices, so they won't pay you. So therefore, it's worth $1,000. Very nice. Thank you very much. I'll do a couple more and let you guys enjoy the election controversy. What's on my list here? Boatnews.com was a good one I'm going to do. So boat news, we know what it means conceptually, although there's a lot of different kinds of boats. So we don't necessarily, it's a very broad expression. There's a lot of other ways of saying it. And boat news is not the most popular market in the world. So again, boat news, it could be watercraft news, watercraft information, boat info, boat this, boat that. There's a million other ways of saying this one. It's still a cool name, but just to be clear, and it's not totally contextual. It's not, you know, motorboat news. It's not sailboat news. It's just boat news. It's awfully vague. So we know what it means, sort of, but it's not a tight context, which is a bad sign for a domain. But you can't get sued for it, is the good news, because it's very generic and it's very easy to spell. It's very short. It has a lot of good things going for it still. So we know what it means. The breadth is, you know, anybody's in the boat news business, but whoever's in the boat news business probably isn't making a lot of money, which means they're not spending a lot of money. If you're in the boat business, maybe, but the boat news, on the other hand, you could potentially set up a boat news site to sell boats, to add your advertising in there, or to sell advertising. But it's probably competitive and not very profitable. There's too many other ways of saying it. It's just not the best domain name ever. So it has some breadth, a little bit. We know what it means, basically. It has no depth, though, because nobody really needs it. Unless, you know, this people, motorboat news, again, it's MBY, so that's not even the right name of the domain. So what is boat news worth is the question, and I'm going to answer that. Usually I have a bunch of tools and take a lot longer to do this. So I'm like being put on the spot. Obviously, I'm doing the best possible under this situation. So boatnews.com is worth like $3,000. That's your answer. Do a few more if you guys posted anything worth anything. And again, I have my own list also. But what else did you guys post worth anything? Well, those aren't that great, so I'm going to post a couple others that I have from another list and then let you guys go about your day. Thanks so much for joining us. Okay, we're going to do BritishRapper.com. So disambiguate it. We know exactly what it means. But the thing here is it's British rapper. So what does that mean? That means the person is more likely to use BritishRapper.co.uk. But if they're already using it, that makes the .com valuable. Also, there's British rappers all over the world, and the .com is the preeminent extension. So irrespective of whatever they're doing with .co.uk, the .com is still going to be valuable. We're going to try to figure out how valuable. We've disambiguated it already. It's obvious what it means. Although I'm not sure how popular British rap is necessarily, but there's White, Zuby, Skepta with Mask. No, thank you. It doesn't look like there's that many British rappers, which I guess, you know, they're kind of pale. Oh, not these dudes. Oh, that's Yellow. That guy, whoa, trippy. He looks like this guy Yellow, man. Albino. Well, in any case, we're trying to appraise a domain. So looks like there's a bunch of British rappers. That's pretty cool. I'm not really into rap or British rap, but I do love reggae. I mean, they call it hip hop. So again, that dilutes the name because they call it British hip hop instead of British rap. And again, they could call it British whatever they want to call it. So again, we know what it means. The breadth is probably pretty good. You know, there's got to be at least 1,000 British rappers and a few hundred that make some money. There's got to be a handful of them that are millionaires. Having said that, they use their own brand name, but one of them would be smart to own that expression in Google for sure. It doesn't mean they are smart, and you might have to hold it for a long time. And also they might want to use .co.uk instead and not both. So therefore it would have to be discounted from its conceptual value based on those problems. So we're going to price it right now and do one more after this and be done. So again, BritishRapper.com, we know what it means. A lot of breadth. The depth is pretty good. One guy should pay up, you know. So it's worth $20,000, but since it's kind of a, you know, imperfect expression, I would discount it considerably. So there you have it, British Rapper 20,000. It's a great name. I'm going to do one more, and you guys are off the hook. Uh-oh. I'm getting some kind of error occurred. That's weird. Well, in any case, I don't know if you guys see that. Otar has Promenade Suite, which sounds like something nice at a hotel. So that'll be the last one, Promenade Suite. So this looks pretty cool. So again, what does it mean? It's like the name of like an expensive room at a hotel. There's other ways of saying it, but those hotels use that exact word. It's 34,000 hits in Google, which is medium. That's probably a correct number. Unfortunately, I can't separate out the proper nouns because Google doesn't recognize the capital letters. So let's look at it. Again, we know what it means. The breadth is anybody who sells something by that expression. And the depth is they should pay up. They probably sell one of these things a night for $2,000. So owning the name, which is going to go up in value year after year after year, they could maybe sell 10 or 20 or 30 extras a year. I mean, I have no idea, but if they sold 30 extra Promenade suites a year at $1,000 profit each, that would be $30,000 profit the first year they own this domain, plus the value of the domain going up itself. So again, I'm just making up numbers, but it's probably a great investment. So you see Hyatt, huge corporation, Marriott, huge corporation, and you see smaller people. Hyatt and Marriott look like they're competing for that expression, which is a good sign. Again, but there's lots of issues with it, which is that they don't need it for anything. They already have the name Marriott and Hyatt. They already sell all kinds of suites. They have all kinds of websites. They can buy any domains they want. This is a long domain, and it's a tiny bit hard to spell, not too bad. But again, they probably sell millions and millions of dollars worth of these things with that exact same word. So there's a medium amount of hits here, as we've seen. So let's just drill a little deeper into the images and see what's going on here. It's pretty cool, man. I need a vacation from my vacation. I could use a nap about now. This looks like my place in Santa Monica a little bit. All right, so Promenade Suites, cool. It looks like there's at least 2 major hotel chains competing for it, and definitely a bunch of smaller ones. So I'm going to try my best to pull out a price for it. Okay, so again, they sell these things for thousands of dollars a night. The name's going to go up in value, but it's a long name and they don't need it for anything. The breadth is there's only 2 or 3 major companies that would want it, and they probably won't want it because they probably don't care anything about domain names. So that's bad, 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 but new companies could grab it. Somebody might name their whole company Promenade Suites, plural, which is a problem, but for them, because they have to buy this one also in that case. And there could be, I didn't do much research, there might already be companies using this. So again, we're just guessing around here. It's definitely worth $10,000 because it goes up in value. It's for a major hotel chain. It has a lot of meaning. So I'd say 15,000 would be a fair appraisal, but since it'll be really hard to sell, you probably take what you can get. Okay, so we did it. So this has been another awesome session. My guests were fabulous. I'm so appreciative for that. I'm appreciative that you guys all hang with me and watch with me. You can share it on YouTube. I'm going to post it, the completed video, and come back and visit next week. We have more fabulous guests that I'll tell you about later tonight. And good luck with your election. And prevent violence to the best of your ability. If there's anything you can do about that. And have an awesome day. Thank you so much.